Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. A new standard has finally hit the scene and there's a lot going on. Hilariously, with the rotation of Khans of Tarkir and Fate Reforged, a few strategies that were being kept down are starting to leak to the top. With the resurgence of creature-based decks, combat is as important as ever. It's time for a really cool budget standard deck tech that a lot of you have wanted for a while. It's time to talk red-white equipment. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised there's enough to build this deck too. If you enjoy our budget deck tech series and want more videos like this, hit that like button. Helps out a lot. While this deck is called red-white equipment, it's basically a red-white allies deck that utilizes a couple powerful pieces of equipment alongside some equipment enablers. The deck is super fast with a ton of brutal opening hands and pretty easy mana, which is good since this is a budget deck and we don't have the room to fill it with $5 each non-basics. The land base is simple. 4 Ally Encampment has the only non-basic lands, then 11 plains and 7 mountains for 22 lands in total. 2-color decks are always fun to build. The mana's so easy. Let's move on to the fun stuff. All the creatures in the deck are allies, every single one of them. We'll begin at the bottom of our curve with a playset of Expedition Envoy. 1 mana, 2/1, ally, simple card, drops early, 2 power, it's irrelevant. Just remember that it's an ally and everything will come together just fine. Moving up to our 2-drop slot, we'll begin with Kor Bladewhirl, the first of our rally allies, another full playset. The Bladewhirl is a solid threat, a 2/2 for 2, but more than that, it gives your entire team first strike on entry to the battlefield, and then first strike again whenever another ally enters. That means your 1-drop Expedition Envoy has relevance later in the game as a rally enabler. Pretty much the main reason it's in this deck. The core of our equipment package is in the 2-drop slot. We're running 4 each of Stonehaven Outfitter and Weapon Trainer. The Outfitter buffs all of our creatures with equipment attached in addition to letting us draw cards when they die. That's just pure value. It oozes value. The Weapons Trainer, while not as impactful, is giving a power anthem effect to all of our creatures, and all we have to do is control an equipment. Doesn't even have to be attached. Talk about low-hanging fruit. Beyond that, it's a 3/2 for 2, and it's an ally to trigger rally. Again, all upside here. Time for 3 drops. We're running 3 Lantern Scout because that card is hilarious in any deck that runs allies. Giving your entire team lifelink on entry to the battlefield will put you so far out of range of most any aggressive deck. The life swings are going to be unreal. Plus, again, this is an ally deck, so you'll be triggering it all the time once it does hit the battlefield. We're also running 2 Firemantle Mage. Menace is an effective form of evasion, forcing defenders to make suboptimal blocks. Being able to give, let's say, 3 or 4 creatures Menace every single turn, really hard to keep up with that, especially if they have first strike from the Bladewhirl. Ally synergy, so good. The very top of our curve goes all the way to 5 mana, a full playset of Resolute Blademaster. This may seem clunky to you, but giving your entire team double strike will often just end games on the spot. Double strike plus Menace, dirty. Double strike plus lifelink, real difficult to come back from. Besides this card, the curve of the deck is so insanely low that you can afford to stick this anchor in there. The Blademaster is a game ender for sure, trust me. The blowouts that come from this card are hilarious and definitely real. That does it for the 25 creatures in the deck. That leaves us with 13 spells, most of which are equipment. This wouldn't be a very good equipment deck without equipment, you know. Anyways, the package is as follows. 4 Captain's Claws, 3 Stoneforge Masterwork, and yes, you see the screen correctly, Bonesaw, 2 of them. Now, before you go crazy, just calm down for a second. Bonesaw is 0 mana, it enables our Weapons Trainer, and it's just straight up cheap to equip. That's what we're looking for. It may sound crazy, but Bonesaw fits the speed of this deck. There may be flashier equipment out there, but the mana base doesn't support it. With 22 lands, we really can't afford anything too expensive. Speed matters here over quality. I'm still surprised too. It's actually really effective. Sticking on something while the Outfitter is in play, it's so good. Captain's Claws is one of the best cards in the deck. You equip it, attack, and before blocks are declared, you have a crapload of rally triggers. The synergy's unreal. It is 2 to play, which is a bit clunky, but the effect is definitely worth it. Getting first strike or lifelink or even double strike on a stick is well worth the cost. Triggering rally just by attacking, it's a good time to be alive. Stoneforge Masterwork just makes sense. I may come down on this card as 3, maybe too many, but when it works, it works. Oftentimes, you'll see this card giving a creature +3/+3, +4/+4. That isn't unusual at all. Get this in the claws on the battlefield at the same time, it gets even more ridiculous, growing your creature every combat. Masterwork is a solid piece of equipment in this deck. Again, possibly better as a 2 of than a 3 of, but man, it's real fun. The only other spell in the deck is Stasis Snare. We're running a full playset. Gotta get removal somewhere. There are other options, but this is the best catch-all for the type of deck we're running. I considered Silk Wrap, but early drops aren't really an issue for you, it's the bigger stuff. Snare is better against the bigger stuff, easy choice. Budget concerns also keep us away from cards like Declaration in Stone, which is straight up baller, so if you have them, yeah, they're good too. We'll talk sideboard in a second. Before that, let's set one thing straight. This is an aggressive deck, but it's aggressive only when you have synergy. Your allies are pretty useless by themselves unequipped. It isn't unusual for you to take 2 to 3 turns just to set up a decent board state. It's not like you can cheat your equipment into play quickly. That's going to take a few turns to get going. The power in the deck comes from triggering Rally when you have 3 to 4 creatures, then pressuring your opponent to make terrible blocks in combat. Rally is designed to be a mechanic used to overwhelm the opponent, not to attack with 1 creature each combat. Just something to keep in mind. Sideboard time. Alright, there's really only one equipment worth sideboarding, and I think it's Hedron Blade. There are plenty of Eldrazi decks running around, and Hedron Blade essentially stops all of them in their own tracks. It makes every single one of your allies a kill spell, and makes it even more difficult to block, as if it already wasn't hard enough. Hedron Blade, total blowout against Eldrazi, or any Thopter-based deck for that matter. They are colorless after all. Take advantage. Beyond that, you'll probably want some more removal. Silk Wrap makes a decent sideboard choice, as there are some low-cost creatures you don't want to deal with. Exquisite Firecraft is a great way to burn down Planeswalkers if you need to, or dome your opponent to the face for some last bits of damage. Hallowed Moonlight is pretty fun against Collected Company. If you find yourself needing to board wipe, you're probably in trouble, but Descend Upon the Sinful or Planar Outburst may be worth a spot if you're really that pressured. Beyond these suggestions, do what feels right based on your own meta. It'll be different from region to region. If you want to upgrade the deck, Declaration in Stone is amazing and makes a wonderful upgrade to Stasis Snare. You'll also probably want to upgrade the land base a bit. Dual lands make your mana easier. If you want to go real deep, you can consider adding a 3rd color, but we'll get to that in another video sometime. Nahiri could also find a way into this deck at the top end. Not sure what you'd want to cut her, even if she's good in the deck, but if you want her, you can make her fit. That middle ability is great removal, and no one ever said no to solid card filtering. Just a thought. Let me know what you think about our latest budget standard deck tech. Is this something that you'd consider playing? What changes would you make to the existing list? I'd love to hear what you have to say. All suggestions are welcome. In addition, how is new standard treating you? You like it? You don't? Let me know how you feel. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. You know, you can get Captain's Clause for as little as 40 cents right now. 40 cents, that's so cheap. If you ever wanted to play allies in any format ever, you're going to want this equipment. 40 cents each, that's gumball money. Another great card to pick up right now, Ally Encampment. Less than $1. Seriously, it's like 97 cents. That's stupid. So cheap. Again, if you're into allies at all, now is the time to get some of these staples no one is paying attention, and they are pennies. Pennies. Click the links, buy some cheap cards, and enjoy.